The Tampa Bay Lightning took down the Bruins, shut out the Bruins 4-0 on Tuesday night, and it was a tough one for the Bees. They now share that #1 spot in the Atlantic Division, 110 points each for the Lightning and the Bruins. Tuukka Rask talked after the game about who showed up to play playoff hockey, and let me give you a little spoiler, it wasn't the Bruins.
Yeah, they got the better start. I guess you look at the score 4-0. They were definitely the better team. I don't think it was necessarily a 4-0 game, but I don't want them to go there. And first 30 minutes, they were on top of us. They were definitely a better team. Yeah, definitely the first period. They came to play playoff hockey. We didn't. I think those things make a difference this time of year. When the team's willing to put everything on the line, and you're kind of just playing, on your heels a little bit, it makes a difference. So. Yeah, it just wasn't our day today.
Welcome into the NESN Digital Studios for Bruins Now. I'm Courtney Cox, joined now by our NESN.com writer, Bruins extraordinaire, Mike Cole.
Yeah.
Mike, they are tied for the first place in the Atlantic Division with the Lightning, 110 points each. We've been over it a million times.
Yeah.
They've got a game in hand. Will they get this done in your eyes?
I don't know. Not a great answer, but
Wait, you're not a psychic?
No, not at all. It's tough to say because I think a lot of it depends on what the Bruins want to do. Bruce Cassidy hasn't really tipped his hand. He even, indicated that they're going to go for it. And you look at the schedule, the remaining 3 games. They've got Florida on Thursday night. They've got Ottawa mixed in there, and then they've got the makeup game from the snow date, if you will, which is also against Florida. Panthers still have something to play for. They're losing a little bit of hope. It doesn't look great for the Panthers to get in, but again, if they win out, they've got a good chance of getting in. So the Bruins are going to get good, inspired efforts against them. Ottawa is a nothing game that maybe is something where you can gain 2 points there. I mean, really, they just need to win one of these games, and they put a lot of pressure on Tampa. Tampa's got Buffalo and Carolina coming in, 2 easy games, 2 games that they should win, but maybe it's one of those things where if the Bruins get those 2 points out of the way early, Tampa Bay kind of looks at it and says, we're just going to pack it in and kind of rest up and get ready for the playoffs. So the Bruins certainly are in the driver's seat, but there's a lot of different factors. Like I said, that the Panthers playing for their playoff lives still, that's an inspired team. Those are going to be like playoff games for them. And the Bruins are working to get healthy. It's a work in progress, and it seems like it's one of those things where they get a couple guys back and then they lose a couple guys. And you have to decide, Bruce Cassidy talked about this too, where it's not just injuries. It's just these guys have played a lot of hockey games over the past 6 months or whatever it is. So do you want to rest guys going into that playoff series as well? It's a balancing act. You can fix a lot of that with a win Thursday night against Florida, but again, if you don't win that game, you're kind of in a weird spot as well. So they've got some decisions to make. So that makes it kind of hard to forecast what's going to happen. But I would imagine that they get it done.
Well, you bring up injuries. The Bruins have seen a lot this past season.
Right.
They're getting a lot of guys back just in the nick of time for the postseason. Who's the most important guy that will be back on the ice for the Bruins after injury?
I think the most important guy, and they've got him back already, is Charlie McAvoy, because I think he's a guy who, we've seen some defensive lapses in the time that he missed. That's to be expected. Again, it's kind of hard to say it's all because McAvoy was gone. We've also haven't had Zdeno Chara for a long period of time. I guess to cheat, I would say the combination of those 2 guys is the most important thing, because that really solidifies your blue line defensively, which has been a little bit of an issue for them recently. Coincidentally, it was an issue for them Saturday night in Tampa when they had both of those guys back. So maybe not the smartest answer right off the bat there, but I think they'll eventually find their legs and kind of get going again. And a guy like McAvoy is a guy who helps you offensively as well. I don't know what they're going to do moving forward into the playoffs with the power play units. I really like what that first unit did without McAvoy. Maybe they kind of tinker with that a little bit, but he's a guy who helps you in all 3 zones, so I think that's probably going to be the most important one. The sleeper is Rick Nash, and again, who knows what Nash's status is long term. They've been really close to the vest with that injury. He's starting to skate. Bruce Cassidy didn't rule him out for the weekend games, getting him back before the playoffs start. As long as he's good to go when that first round starts, I think he's also a really important piece for this team, because as good and skilled as those forwards are, they lack size, and Nash gives them size. He gives them a shot. He's got a good shot from the wing, and like I said, a lot of size. He's not going to be afraid to kind of go in there, get his nose dirty around the net. He's also a guy who can get deep, get pucks below the goal line, and he's a guy who won't be pushed around. So a lot there. So if they can get those three guys, really, they're just the most important ones, obviously, and it sounds like they're going to get them back in time for the playoffs. So I think that's good news for the Bruins.
All right, well, great stuff from Mike, as always. You can follow along with him at Mike Cole Nesson. As always, great to have you in here. And while it's great to be at the top of the Atlantic division, we also want to go look at what Bruins fans really want. They want to see the Stanley Cup back in Boston. That's what everybody wants. They want to see the Stanley Cup on the duck boat on a beautiful, summer day. But our very own Rachel Holt took a walk down memory lane with a guy who's been there, done that. Andrew Ferentz talked about his date with Lord Stanley.
Now, every player, they get their chance at the Stanley Cup for a day. You said something that might get you in trouble, I'm not sure, but you said you put more planning into your day with the Stanley Cup than you did your wedding.
Yeah, well, there's no trouble because my wife knows. I think our wedding was done on Post-it notes, and I think the Cup day was Excel spreadsheets. we had a great day. Like I said, Boston is home to us as far as like all of our friends and our kids growing up here. So we chose to have our day here in Boston, and man, it was incredible. I was the last guy to get the Cup, at the end of the summer, so I had all summer to plan. And we hit up my daughter's school. We hit up Spalding Rehab. Went through the North End with a Italian Saints parade, and we had like a little flash mob in the North End. So what an absolutely awesome day. And I got to carry this thing around behind my bike, which was pretty cool, right through the middle of Boston. So I don't think I would change a single thing from it. It's
pretty heavy too, so that's a good workout. Now that has to be one of the more tame things that you've heard done with the Stanley Cup.
There's some legendary stories that I think are locked. Some of them are locked up in the minds of our cup keepers who have one of the other greatest jobs on earth.
So what's it going to take to get to that scene right there? Well, we're at that point of the season where it's easy to look at the road to get there. Let's pull up a little full screen to give you guys what you need to know at the end of the regular season. The Bees hit the road down south to take on the Panthers tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, then come home Saturday night to take on the Senators, rounding out the season on Sunday against the Panthers again. And while on the topic of the end of the season for the Bruins, one guy has been pretty incredible all season long. Brad Marchand, who was just named the second star of March by the NHL. In 15 games, Marchand had 10 goals and 16 assists. And the guy is loving the congratulatory tweet. This is what it looked like when it was announced. A nice kissy face. But it wasn't all good news. He was fined $5,000, which is the max allowable, for a little cross-check against Philadelphia. Yeah, so you can't do that, but you can smile at this adorable photo. It was just Easter, and the Bees took to Instagram to post this adorable shot of Chara and the Bruins bear, both dressed up as bunnies. Gotta love it. All right, now let's go around the league. We're gonna start in New York. We're still talking Bruins, but stick with me. The Jersey Shore cast visited Barstool headquarters to promote their new show, Jersey Shore Family Vacation. Mike the Situation holding this shirt that says "is good." We don't see "is good." We see this shirt on the Barstool website. Tuukka Rask is good. So I gotta know, is Mike the Situation a Bruins fan, a Tuukka fan? I gotta know, Mike. Tweet us at Nesson. Gotta love that they were all there. I'm a Jersey Shore fan. I'll probably be tuning in. All right, now let's travel a little bit further south on to Nashville, where star Carrie Underwood stood up for her husband's team, the Nashville Predators, who had a tough loss after the refs took away Philip Forsberg's game-tying goal with 0.6 seconds left in the third. You can't do that. I mean, you can because you're the ref, but you shouldn't. People were not happy, including Underwood, so she had a series of these tweets. And for a glance at the social media scene around the rest of the sports world, here's Casey's Social Drive, presented by Nissan.
It's your Nissan Social Drive, and it's brought to you by your local Nissan dealers. During the final spring training game at Dodger Stadium, a sewage pipe broke and flooded the field in the 5th inning. This is so gross. So the umpires, they had to call the game, much to the delight of probably every player and fan's nose. So apparently sewage water leaked out onto the warning track, as you can see here, near the Dodgers dugout, and into the box seats along the foul line, like up to your knees. Pretty terrible. The team, though, not worried about the spill impacting the season opener between the Giants and Dodgers. That is tomorrow afternoon. Now, the Yankees, they announced that they're serving personalized player beers during games this year, and MLB gets wind of it and completely shuts it down. So the likenesses of Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, and Aroldis Chapman supposed to be displayed on the top of beer, but MLB didn't sign off on it. Try again, Yankees. And Bill Belichick, just sitting in the lobby of the Dolphins training facility. Intimidation? Definitely. I'm Bill Belichick. I do what I want. I sit where I want. He was actually just getting some work done ahead of today's Miami Hurricanes Pro Day that was held there at the facility. But this picture is pretty awesome. That's your Social Drive.
Social Drive is presented by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
All right, well, that will do it for this episode of Bruins Now. Thanks so much for tuning in and sticking with me. I will see you next time, same place. Keep it locked in, NESN.com.